All right. Maybe y'all can see me on here. I don't know how long I got this thing lined up. I'll scoot down. Anyhow, this right here is an old banjo neck I started working on, I don't know, probably close to 20 years ago now. I never did get finished with it. I've been thinking about trying to make another Gourd banjo, so I figured I'd get this thing out, finish it up. So I'm gonna try to make a little video, kind of document the process, how I'm gonna go about making this one. Dad still had his old bandsaw out there, and I ain't even got it out to see if it still works or not. It's out there at the shed, but I think I'm just gonna make this one with basic hand tools, and it'll give you an example of how to make one like that. And the fact that if you want to make a Gourd banjo or some kind of instrument, banjo or guitar, diddly bow or whatever, you really ain't got to have a whole lot of tools. And nowadays you can get them as fancy as you want them, and all these fancy tools in the big fancy shop. My shop's mostly a big mess in there, stuff laying all over the place. I got to get out there and clean it up. You know how that goes. I usually wind up putting stuff off, trying to get better about that. But anyway, I'm gonna try to make this little project with nothing but basic hand tools that pretty much anybody should be able to do. If somebody wants to try to make one, you can follow this example. Should be might not be the easiest way, it might not be the fastest way, but it's probably the cheapest way. And so what I started doing on this neck, you can see here, I just been chopping it away. Basically, I got a little saw here, this thing. I'll just show you a little bit of how I'm doing that. You can see here, I just been cutting slices in there and just breaking it off. So I'll do a little bit of that. You can kind of get an example of how I'm going about it. Just getting it down to size. And you can see I'm just out here on the porch. I ain't in no big fancy shop or none of that. I gotta get this neck in kind of a roundish shape. Then I can use whatever they call this thing. I ain't no tool expert. I can use that thing on it, or I can use rasp on it and get it on down there. But just to get it a little closer, start out sawing slices in there, something like that. I just take the hammer, and you can get it. I might have to get a chisel out later, and just kind of knock them right out of there. That's a pretty quick way to make a lot of progress on getting something down. And I'll do the other side and get this neck roughly rounded off a little bit, and then I'll start working on it with a rasp. I'll come back, I'll make this whole thing be a process. I'll probably make several videos before we get it done, but I'll try to document the whole thing. So anyway, that's going to be step one. Now, I did use the bandsaw initially to cut this out. You could use a hand saw just like the saw I had. This is a piece of old barn wood. It's oak and it's hard. So if you got, you could take a skill saw and rough this thing out. You could take a couple pieces of wood from up at Lowe's, just, cheap. You could use anything. The harder the wood you got, the better it'll hold up better. I imagine it won't bow or nothing, but these things is gonna have you know, nylon strings on it anyway. That ain't gonna have a whole lot of tension, so it'll probably hold up just fine. I mean, you can probably use just about anything to make that neck. I was just thinking, people in the old days, when it's said that the banjo originally was a slave instrument and brought up here to America, and those old slaves made them things out of gourds and wood and whatever they could find, and, you know, whatever tools they had. I'm sure there was many of them just whittled with an old pocket knife. So you can use anything, and it'll be more old school anyway, doing it like that. So anyway, I'm gonna work on that a little bit more, and I'll come back with another video at some point and show the progress of it and show you the next steps as we go along. Alright folks, I appreciate you watching my video, and as always, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, man. I'm trying to get some viewers on here and spread the word about all this old-timey junk that kind of falling by the wayside. But it's nice to see that people are taking interest in this kind of stuff these days, and it ain't just a dying art. And I love the old junk. I like a lot of new stuff too. It's all good. I'm glad to see folks taking interest in it, especially kids. I can't remember who it was, but I seen some real young kid playing fretless banjos, Gourd banjos and stuff like that. It's really cool to see stuff like that. When I was a kid coming up, it wasn't cool to play banjo. I mean, I started playing it when I was probably about, I don't know, 10 or 11 years old. I didn't tell many of my friends at school. I figured I wanted to play electric guitar or something if they was gonna see me doing it. But it always fascinated me. I always loved the instrument. I love the history behind it. A lot of it was good and a lot of it was bad. It's really cool. It's cool to see that people are learning more and more about it now. Since YouTube came along, you can watch endless videos on the history of it, all kinds of styles of playing.